All right, everybody, you guys should have just gotten done going through a read aloud, think aloud over the text changing weather. So it's kind of a good idea to stop here and analyze the visual information that you just got done viewing. All right. So the important part of why should we, basically, the first question is why should we care, or why is visual information so important? Well, visual information, it kind of reinforces the text, or it helps explain the text, or it helps give you a visual of what the text is talking about. So I can tell you that a flower that grows in spring, it looks kind of purplish with white on top. You would instantly picture a bluebonnet uh, until I showed you a picture of a violet, or I showed you a picture of a, off color morning glory. All right. So that's kind of one reason why visual information is so important. This infographic here shows the different diets that are available, and having a visual, the analyzing visual information, you can also use it to connect ideas. So on this graphic, you can kind of see how each of the foods are organized by color. We got purple, we got red, we got yellow, white. And then up here, we kind of have the white is kind of notated with this pink, and then it kind of gets connected down here, and it's got a B12. So we can kind of conclude, because the text is a little bit small, so you can't really read it, but you can kind of conclude that white foods or white vegetables or anything like that are high in B12, in the vitamin B12. So that's a benefit of the uh, whitish color vegetables or foods. Oranges, we have vitamin C, purple is B3, red is vitamin A. So, I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that you can connect with use of visual information. Okay. So looking at visual information, this chart shows you the different types of visual features that you will see in a text to help you understand the text. You'll have, an illustration, just like we saw on the previous slide, um, diagrams, maps. There's pretty much all of these features on this previous slide. There were captions to explain what each of the foods were and what the vitamins were and all that. There was a map. If we come back here, there's a map up here where that's the healthiest countries in the world. Um, Again, the text is a little bit small, but if I was going just based off colors here, you could probably guess that maybe these colors indicate that that is where most of the food maybe comes from, or where it's most eaten, something like that. Or they just kept with these colors to stay with the color scheme. Uh, Without reading the text, the caption, being able to read the captions, we don't really know, but that's all good guesses. Um, we have diagrams, labels, all kinds of stuff over there. Okay, and each feature has a purpose, and that's listed right here also. Um, if you are wanting to take a screenshot of this, you can pause the video and take your screenshot, or write down this chart in your notebooks if you're using notebooks, something like that, so you have it with you all the time. Uh, Please go ahead and do so. So we are going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Here we have a graph that you saw in the text, or should have seen in the text. It is uh, talking about the different layers of the atmosphere. So that gives you that visual. It starts with the troposphere, then goes stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere. All right. Uh, so the diagram is showing the objects. It's also, not only is it showing the layers, but it's showing objects in the like where the objects are in our atmosphere. Are you able to make out the plane, do you think? the image is a little bit blurry, but the plane is right there. Okay, that's where the plane is at. I'm gonna erase that because that didn't turn out very good. Get an arrow back here. So the plane is right there. All right, that's where the plane is. And if I were to have you label it, label where the plane is at, you could follow this other line here, and it is located in what is known as the troposphere. It's the closest level of the atmosphere to us. Okay. The altitude that's given, it shows about the height of an object, measuring its height above the sea level. So if you were to be asked, you know, what level of the atmosphere is 75 kilometers above sea level, where would you be? What level of the atmosphere would you be in? Right, you would be in the mesosphere, okay? Because the mesosphere is 50 to 85 kilometers, and if you were asked about 75 kilometers, that falls in between there. So you would be over here with your with the meteor shower. All right, I'll clear all of my arrows off. All right, moving along. Oop. Get out of here. There we go. Here is a piece of text that kind of helps describe the graph that we just saw. So what is the topic of the paragraph then? Right, reading through, you don't even have to read very far. You can conclude that it's talking about Earth's atmosphere because it says the atmosphere is divided into layers. Bottom layer is called the troposphere, and that is where our weather happens. So it's talking about Earth's atmosphere. And then if you were to connect it with the diagram on the previous slide, is what's the topic of that topic is also Earth's atmosphere. So it's connecting, that's another way that it is connecting. So where you see pictures in the previous slide, here is the text that helps explain those pictures. All right, so then how does the diagram add to the information given to the text about the layers of the atmosphere, do you think? So what is not in, basically that question is asking, what is not in this text that you see in this picture? I'll give y'all a couple of minutes to try to see if you can figure it out before I give y'all the answer. So what is in this picture that you do not see or read about here in this text? Some of you may have already seen it. What is in here is actually the objects that are in each layer. So like here you have a satellite. Oh, that messed up. Redo my circle. Here we have a satellite, and then here's the space shuttle. Again, here, down here is the plane. So that is something that you do not read about on the next slide. There's nothing in the next slide that says anything about the different items that are showing up in each layer of the atmosphere, okay? It says that air pressure is caused by weight of the air pushing you down. As you get higher, there's less air, causes air pressure to decrease the higher you go. Air particles high in the atmosphere are farther apart than they are on the Earth's surface. So the text talks more about air pressure than it does about what it actually is in that layer. You also, in the diagram, you see information about the temperature of the air. So this right here is all talking about air pressure, but back here, like I said, not only do you see the objects that are in each layer, it's also giving you the temperature of each layer, all right? So based on the temperatures of each layer, what can you conclude about Earth's atmosphere based on just seeing the temperatures of each atmosphere? Right, you can conclude that the farther away from the surface you get, the colder it's going to get. So we have starting out down here at 17 degrees Celsius. Going up, you have, you know, negative 55 to 0 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius is cold. 0 degrees Celsius is, I believe, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If I have my science conversion correctly, you can probably check that with your science book to confirm that. But I do believe that 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's cold. That's like this morning's temperature. Okay. Cold, freezing. Then we go to from 0 degrees Celsius to negative 90. All right. Negative 90 is cold. All right. And then we're up here at negative 90 to, I'm sure that's a typo. That's gotta be like negative 1700. It's like, it's freezing out in space. All right. You do not want to go out there without the proper gear. You would freeze into an ice cube in seconds. All right. So it is cold out there. Moving along though. So that's kind of where the diagram helps you understand the text a lot better, okay? So which sentence does the diagram best support? So none of these pieces of text are in the text before, so you can't get the answer that way. You are gonna have to make sure you analyze the diagram and each sentence to see which sentence is best supported by the diagram. You have answer choice A, the weather on Earth happens in the atmosphere. B, our atmosphere is made up of nitrogen and oxygen. C, the different parts of the atmosphere have different temperatures. Or D, our atmosphere is different from the atmospheres of other planets. Just see if y'all can guess it before I give y'all the answer. All right. So starting with A, that one is wrong. Okay. So the diagram, it says stuff about temperature, but temperature is not weather. Okay. Weather it's more than just talking about the temperature of the atmosphere. So it's not talking about weather. I have a very sensitive mouse. All right. So sentence B, our atmosphere is made up of nitrogen and oxygen. Well, there is nothing in this diagram that talks about what our atmosphere is made up of. So it does not support that one. The different parts of the atmosphere have different temperatures. That one is a lot more accurate than the others. So I'm going to stick that right there as kind of a placeholder. And then we have our atmosphere is different from the atmospheres of other planets. Well, possibly, we kind of know that to be true because our planet is somewhat unique in our solar system. However, we are looking at this diagram here, and this diagram only shows us. It is not showing any other planets. So this one is not being supported by the diagram. So by process of elimination and everything else, our answer for this is C. All right. That the diagram best supports the sentence of stating that the different parts of the atmosphere have different temperatures. Clear off all the drawings. Get the mouse back. All right. So the next thing you'll need to do is make sure you go to the discussion post in Schoology and answer the discussion question. There will be another diagram from the text in there for you to answer questions about. After you finish that discussion post, there will be this assignment plus a few others, but this one is pretty important. There was a lot of confusion, so I thought I'd post it here so that I can kind of explain the assignment to you guys a little bit. Reading the directions, it says read each sentence, work with a partner, think of a visual feature that could illustrate the information from the sentence. Write 1 or 2 complete sentences to describe the feature. Use words from the words to use list in your answer. Okay, so obviously you do not have to work with a partner on this, all right? Some of you are going to be watching this from your house, and it's going to be a lot difficult to work with a partner if you do not have a partner to work with. So working with a partner on this one is optional. Possibly not even able to be done depending on your class makeup and class rules. All right. If you do not understand these instructions, please make sure you ask your teacher so that they can clarify it best for you. I'll try my best here for a little bit, but if I get too confusing, please allow your teacher the chance to clear anything up. So basically, the first thing you have to do is you have to read the sentences first. Okay, so you got 4 sentences here. The first one, it says, in the United States, winds usually blow from west to east because of convection currents. Okay, so now you have to think of a visual feature. Think back to that chart that we did at the beginning of the lesson. What kind of visual feature that you have here is going to show this information? Okay, so think of it like this. You would have assignments in elementary school where you would be shown a graphic or a map or a visual feature or something, and you would have to explain what information is in that visual feature. This assignment basically does the opposite of that. What you are doing is you are being given the information and being asked to identify what visual feature you would have pulled that information from. Okay, that's basically all you're doing. It's just a reverse identification of what you have already done before. Okay, if you want to make sure that you have things right, please make sure to check in with your teachers before you submit it. If you're at home and you want to check in, you can always contact one of your teachers. Send a screenshot of what you have already, so you don't have to submit it right away. You want us to check it before you send it in, and we can give you feedback. If you're face-to-face, obviously we're there with you. You can always come up and ask us, hey, is this right? I think I'm right. I'm not all that sure. But you can check in with us before you submit it and get it graded. All right. That should be everything. That should be a good wrap up for now. Again, if you do have any questions, please make sure to reach out to your teacher for help. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.